concept behind In the Wake of Pestilence wrote itself pretty quickly. I mean, it had to. You know, the recording process, we were pretty much done at that point. I mean, guitars were about 3/4 done, the drums were already done, and of course we had just let Daryl, our previous vocalist, go. We finally got him out of the band, and we had this void to fill. So from a lyrical perspective, when I jumped on board, we wanted to kind of keep it old school in the sense that we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I mean, the music itself was more of an ode to some of the, you know, the older bands that we really liked. I mean, you know, we were all big fans of old Cryptopsy. We loved old Morbid Angel. So there's all sorts of that kind of style and riffage peppered in the Wake of Pestilence. So we knew we wanted the concept to be something reminiscent. So, in the Wake of Pestilence, the overarching storyline is basically that mankind finally has had enough with religion, specifically Christianity, decides to band together, revolt, and completely abolish it. And abolish it through bloodshed. And that is what the overarching premise of In the Wake of Pestilence is, and the title basically just summarizes it, where, you know, now, after all is said and done, after every religious figure is killed, every structure demolished, after everything is said and done, and we're looking back at the rubble, at the victory, you know, now we ask ourselves, what's next? So that overarching story, if you read the lyrics, there's like a double layer under there. So that double layer has to do with all sorts of personal shit that I was actually going through at the time. So everything from resigning from my previous career, going through a divorce, there's all sorts of things like that that were happening at the time, which really did fuel the animosity, the resentment, you know, that emotional undercurrent that was needed to get the storyline across properly. So everything that's being sung in there has a double meaning tied into shit that I was kind of going through, and so a lot of that that emotion that's coming through on that album vocally is being derived from that kind of shit. Without talking about it, without crying about it like a little bitch, you know, just kind of dealt with it, but really kind of put it into the music. So yes, so the lyrics wrote themselves pretty quickly. I mean, in fact, some of the lyrics I wrote in the morning of recording them. So I'd be, you know, driving to where we were going to be recording for that day and kind of finalizing or hammering out or figuring out what the fucking vocal patterns would be. And, you know, the idea behind doing it that way was so that we didn't overthink it, right? We're not a guitar pro band to begin with, right? We're not that kind of band. We want everything to kind of be relatively organic and natural, and if it's not real, then it's not on it type of thing. So, you know, all I really did was just kind of draw some influences from vocalists whose vocal patterns I was a big fan of. And I mean, I really like DeSalvo's vocal patterns off of the two Cryptopsy albums that he worked on. I was a big fan of old Tucker from Morbid Angel, some of his vocal patterns. So a lot of the kind of the patterns that were put on board were derived from stuff that I loved already. So it was a pretty natural kind of outpouring. A lot of it happened on the spot, but the lyrics themselves got written very quickly. And throughout the concept of In the Wake of Pestilence, there was this one little piece that I kept putting in there, which is okay, it's nice that man is finally awakened to the fact that religion needs to be abolished, but why after all these years did it just happen now? And you know, the real answer in the lyrics is that there's an evil entity that embeds itself into the hearts of men, that gets them to be awakened to the fact that all religions need to be destroyed. So that was peppered throughout, and that actually tied into some of the undercurrents of my own personal life that I was going through at the time. But in Malediction, in the follow-up album, we took that story, or that part of the story, and fucking ran with it.